We are here for more money, but we are also here for more housing. We think the two need to go together because we have a crisis. We have a severe crisis in terms of housing in England, and it's been dramatized by the lack of concrete proposition by the federal political parties in an election that's taking place on Monday. At any rate, Socialist Action has been part of these protests the last 2 or 3 times, right on this spot, and a little bit of traffic inconvenience, I think, is well worth the effort to draw attention to a crisis that is killing people. What about ODSP, the so-called support program? Well, ODSP is not a support program. It's a slow death sentence. Due to the housing crisis, $1,169 a month leads to homelessness. Due to the pandemic, current ODSP rates being racialized, and poor people are more likely to get sick and die. Due to the social service cuts that we are all witnessing, people living with a serious disability or illness are more destitute and more desperate. Due to the recent changes to ODSP, recipients can be cut off without due process. They can be cut off and be subject to a home search without a warrant. Did you know that? Well, ODSP rates have been frozen for years. You might wonder, how has the Canadian corporate elite been doing during those years? Well, let's just look at the COVID pandemic, the last 18, 19, 20 months. During this pandemic, in 2020, for example, CEOs at the 49 largest corporations in Canada got raises of 17% on average. That's raises on top of incomes that are 6-7 digits. Giant retail, resource, manufacturers, and banks have made billions of dollars during the COVID crisis. Like Colorado, like Sienna Senior Living, like Chapters Indigo, which just unionized 5 stores, by the way, in the last couple of weeks in Ontario and Quebec and out there. Is this an accident? This glaring disparity between rich and poor? Is this simply a matter of personal immorality? It's too extensive to be ascribed to personal immorality. It's systemic, and I think that's the point that many of us are trying to make here today. This is capitalism. Capitalism is not broken. It was made to work this way, to create growing inequality and growing disparity and growing disengagement from real decision-making in society. For social justice, for equity, for an end to catastrophic climate change, for an end to recurring pandemics, because you know the present pandemic is just the 6th of the last 20 years. It has a lot to do with capitalist agriculture, clear-cutting forests, and bringing species into close proximity where they share diseases. If you want to end that, if you want to end the economic and the environmental crisis, if you want to end imperialist wars like the one in Afghanistan, from which Washington recently had to apparently retreat, if you want to stop efforts to crush progressive societies like Cuba and Venezuela, we need to overthrow the system that gives rise to inequality, the system that gives rise to disparity, the system that gives rise to authoritarianism, that gives rise to economic and ecological disaster. We have to end the capitalist system itself.
End the capitalism!
Now don't get me wrong, we're for reforms. We fight for reforms every day because we know that's often a lifeline for people who are struggling to survive. But we also know that reforms are vulnerable in this system. Here today, gone tomorrow. So, should ODSP payments be raised? Absolutely. And as Isabella has said, double the rate of the CDRB. $2,000 is not enough. $4,000 would be the beginning of a decent living. But in fighting for reforms, as we do, in fighting for reforms, keep in mind that no reform is secure under capitalism. In the federal election, we urge you to vote. We in Socialist Action, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but urge you to vote for the only mass labor party in North America, the New Democratic Party. Despite its weak platform, despite its completely inadequate policies and proposals for change. Because it's a labor party. It's a party in which working people, at least in some say, whereas the other parties, Liberal, Conservative, Bloc, People's Party, Green, they are parties where big money does the talking, where big money is in control. So we urge you to vote in the election on Monday if you haven't already, and to vote for the NDP without illusion. But we challenge you, we invite you, we entreat you to join with us in building a left wing in the labor movement and in the NDP. In the NDP it's called the Socialist Caucus, and it has won many policy changes in recent years in that party. And in the labor movement, it's called the Workers' Action Movement, which contested the election for executive in the Ontario Federation of Labour 2 years ago and got up to 37% of the votes with a shoestring campaign, no resources really to speak of. And at the Canadian Labour Congress virtual convention in June, we got up to 17% of the votes at a convention where 4,000 delegates were registered. So what am I saying? Saying that a movement is growing, and that you can be part of it. Anti-poverty activists, feminists, LGBTQI folks, trans folks, people standing up for Indigenous people's rights, people who care about the environment and who want to subordinate profit to the interests of people and nature. Come together, work with us, and we can bring about change. We can smash capitalist minority rule. We can establish majority rule for the first time ever. Workers and the oppressed will come to power. We invite you to join Socialist Action, where we can together carve out space for real fundamental change while fighting for reforms and fighting for lasting change at the same time. Thank you very much.